Now today we're going to be talking about the Rainbow Six Siege beta, which was meant to be an open beta that all of you could play, but it's actually been forced into a closed beta state by Ubisoft. Now recently there have been some huge problems with this beta that have made them do this, and unfortunately only a few amount of players have actually had access to this beta, and luckily enough I happen to be one of those. So today I thought I'd give you guys my impressions of everything that's going on with this game and give you an idea of roughly what to expect, considering the fact that the game is only about a week away from release, which is really worrying considering just how problematic and controversial this beta has come to be. So it seems right that I should start off with the bad, the things that are being talked about the most by the media and everybody on Reddit, and the general consensus across the board of what the problems are with this beta. Now the biggest glaring problem is matchmaking still. This happened in the closed beta as well, and you can spend absolutely ages trying to get into a game. You either cannot find teammates or you cannot find an opponent, and this even applies to people who have full squads of 5 players. You cannot find an enemy team. We know for a fact that there are probably hundreds if not thousands of teams out there sitting in groups of 5s just waiting to be matchmaked with us, but it just doesn't happen. I don't understand what the situation is with their matchmaking, but it's gotten to a very bad level. In fact, so much so that you can be waiting for a good 15 minutes at some points to even see a game, and I think that's completely unacceptable. When I press multiplayer, I expect to be matchmake within at least 2 minutes. I'd say at the very most 3 minutes. That's just how matchmaking should work in a modern multiplayer game, regardless of a ranking system as well. Even on the ranked playlist, this applied too. In fact, in some cases it was longer, and in some cases it was shorter. I don't know what exactly is going on with their matchmaking system, but in very strange circumstances, it was even easier to find a ranked game than it was just to find a casual open lobby. So there definitely needs to be some serious fixing going on there, and they're trying to release numerous updates to fix this problem, but considering it's existed since the closed beta, which was a few months back in September now, that has me very much concerned. Now, also one thing I should point out is that if you're from Europe and you're trying to play with people from another region, and I'm not too sure if this applies to everybody, but for me this was the case. I tried playing with some people from the United States in a squad of 5, and it just wouldn't happen. They couldn't join my squad, they got rejected. It happened on PC and PS4, so I don't know how that's working, but it appears to be some kind of mega server region lock. I'm not too sure how it's working at the moment. I was on the stream with 2 Angry Gamers and Hadoukens, and we tried getting a 5th player, Matimio, from the United States in our squad, and it just would not let him in whatsoever. And the same thing happened on PS4 when I was playing with a couple of guys from Europe, and we wanted a friend from the US to come on and join us. It just wouldn't happen. So, you can still also join bugged lobbies. That's something that I should also bring up, that don't start, they just put you in this lobby. It's a constant cycling loop of waiting for something to happen that never does, and it also can put you into empty and unbalanced ones as well, and this is also combined quite rather ineffectively with in-game disconnects and various crashes which happen when you're actually in a game as well. So finding a game is a problem, but when you're actually in one, don't be surprised if you get a server disconnect or your game is immediately crashed by some various bug. Now, I've only had 2 actual system error crashes on the PlayStation 4, but as for server-side crashes, I've had about a good 9 or 8 now, which has been incredibly frustrating. On the PC, I'm not too sure what they've done, but mouse calibration is off. It's just really strange at the moment. They seem to have messed around with mouse acceleration, resulting in some kind of weird floaty feeling when playing, and it took me a good few games to adjust mine to a level which was near enough playable. I still feel at this point that my mouse isn't 100% in sync with my gun movements, and that I'm some kind of feather just floating around when I'm checking the corners. It's not precise enough at the moment. I think they've added some kind of mouse acceleration or smoothing, as I said, and I don't know why, but this seems to be just hardcore encoded into the game. You cannot deselect whatever mouse acceleration they have on or whatever they've decided to add on. It's just how it is, and they definitely need to sort that out. In a similar manner, on the PS4, the controls have a slightly more subtle float feel to them. It's not as bad as the PC version, but it still definitely feels a little bit off. I feel like my gun is swaying a bit more excessively than I'm asking it to. So when I look left, it's going a bit more to the left or a bit less to the left than I want it it to, and it's taking a while to get used to. Maybe perhaps after time it would just be something I will adapt to, but it definitely feels like a game-based error at the moment, and definitely not a personal-based error, because lots of people as well have been complaining about it. As for balancing wise, the game seems to be in a decent state. The only big problem that's popped up for me is that shields are still ridiculously overpowered. Now, in my opinion, you should not be able to shoot with a shield. It's just how it should be. You should only be able to shoot with a shield if you physically switch to your sidearm and place the shield on your back. Now, I feel like this should be a team play oriented piece of equipment. And I feel like at the moment, especially when you can have 2 shields on a team, maybe even 3, I'm not quite sure where the limitation stands at the moment, it just doesn't work. And there's lots of circumstances where I've clearly had the drop on somebody, I should have been able to kill them, they've pulled up their shield, they've crouched in a corner, and then they forced their way through a doorway, and I just can't do anything. I can't run around them to shoot them from the back because they will shoot me and I will die. I can't move from my position because it's likely they're going to tag me instantly. And it just doesn't work, and I feel like at the moment the pistol option with the shield shouldn't be a thing. Now, on the slightly more critical note of things, the blood splatter. Now, I know this is just a weird thing to complain about, but it went from looking like a kind of metallic-y jelly, something that looked really good in the closed beta, to some kind of ketchup bottle being shot in the open beta, and it just doesn't look good. It can also be kind of distracting as well. You'll be walking around the corner and you'd expect just like an oozing blood pile on the floor or wall. You wouldn't be expecting anything really dramatic, but it looks like some kind of Team Fortress 2 blood splatter effect with like somebody dashing a bottle of bolognese sauce against a wall. It's not right. They should go back to what they had before, and I feel like it's some kind of graphical thing that they've just undermined the game with, and that's something that, in my personal opinion, I would like to see changed back. Now, it appears Ubisoft have essentially damaged all areas and FPS is supposed to excel in. Matchmaking, controls, and hit registration all seem to be a little bit off at the moment. On the hit registration side of things, I've been noticing that some bullets are clearly hitting targets, even producing the blood splatter, but not inflicting damage. Now, this might be down to a number of things. The tick rate may be sub 30, which is embarrassing for an FPS game these days, especially a competitive shooter. All the pings of each individual player were quite high. Now, I have quite a strong connection here in the United Kingdom, 100 download, 20 upload, fiber connection, and the North Europe server I was connecting to was displaying a ping of 27 on the menus, but when I got into a game, I could not get below 65 milliseconds. So I feel like that's the problem right there, and none of the other players I was with were below 60 milliseconds as well, so that definitely needs looking into. Now, Ubisoft have claimed that all of these will not affect the final game, but being a mere week away from launch, I highly doubt that. So as a result of all the bad things that are in the game, I've actually called off any chance of purchasing it on day one or pre-ordering it. I will be waiting for some kind of reviews or confirmation that the game is in a decent state. Now, what about the good side? What reasons do you have to be interested in Siege? And there are some things there, and I know looking past all the bad sides can be quite challenging, but this game is definitely still worth a kind of peace of mind, I suppose. Now, I still really enjoy the concept. I like the fact that this is kind of like a Battlefield CSGO merger that I can really enjoy and get into. And when I actually got around to playing solid games that were balanced and with all the players in, I actually had quite a lot of fun, and I want to see more of that. So as long as these problems are resolved, I still think Siege can be a great first-person shooter. The new operators seem decent, and I definitely want to see lots of variation and customization when it comes to these operators in the final version of the game. Some of them have very useful abilities, such as bulletproof barricades that I've been playing around with, and I think they're going to be a great addition to the title too. So overall, the beta is actually very disappointing. The physical game itself is great, but the infrastructure behind it is completely dragging it down. The hit registration, the ping, all the problems surrounding matchmaking. These things are just basically disappointing what is a very good core first-person shooter. And I feel like if you were a smart person, you'd cancel any pre-orders you have to avoid disappointment and wait for Ubisoft to actually show a physical game, a final version, which is, as they claim, not affected by anything in the beta, or at least that's roughly what they've said along the lines on their forums, Reddit and Twitter. So guys, it's been me, the Tactical Brit. Let me know what you think about Rainbow Six Siege down in the comment section below, and hopefully if this game is fixed, I will be bringing you some more Siege content very soon. As always guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon in another video.